Okay, they were predicting the Chicago Bears record prediction. So looking at their roster, they actually have a pretty good skill position players with Komet, Herbert, who I think will be good, DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Mooney. Offensive line could be better though. But big question is Justin Fields, how I think of him. I don't think he'll improve that much this year. I think he'll pretty much be 2022 Justin Fields, but with a slightly better defense. Since on the defense, they brought in Ngakwe, Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, but their secondary could definitely be better. I think Eddie Jackson's just a average safety. And Eberflus, I'm not sure how well he's going to do. He definitely did not do well in crunch time last year. And I think that the Bears will be Justin Fields will be like last year Justin Fields, but with slightly better passing and slightly worse rushing with a slightly better defense. So I expect them to do only slightly better. So your first game versus the Packers. Packers are starting Jordan Love in his first game. I think Packers defense should be as good or slightly better. They still have very good players like Jair Alexander, Kenny Clark, even though their safeties aren't that good. And with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, I don't trust the Bears defense enough. And I think Jordan Love will do better than Justin Fields. I'm giving the Packers. Then you have week 2 versus the Bucks. I think Bucks defense will cause too much problems for Justin Fields. They have a good secondary, good defensive line, and Bucks still have good skill position players, which I think will go right to that Bears secondary. So I'm giving the Bucks. Then week 3 versus the Chiefs. Andy Reid is a mastermind. Bears defense won't be able to stop the Chiefs. I'm giving the Chiefs. Then you have week 4 versus the Broncos. I think Broncos will be much improved with Sean Payne. Broncos should have a pretty good defense, which should contain the Bears offense. And I trust the Broncos offense a lot more than the Bears defense. For that matter, so I'm giving the Broncos. Then you have Denver versus the Commanders. I think Commanders defensive line is going to run right over Chicago Bears offensive line. And I don't see the Bears offense operating well. And Washington does have a short week with home field advantage. So I'm giving the Commanders here. Then you have Denver versus the Vikings. Vikings. Bears are coming up a mini bye. Vikings, they have just an explosive offense with Kirk Cousins, Madison, who I think will be fine this year, will be fine as a Cook replacement. They have Justin Jefferson, but I think the Vikings' defensive scheme with Brian Flores will cause problems for Justin Fields. He's still a very young quarterback, and I don't see the Bears' defense stopping the Vikings' offense. And Vikings being more experienced, I'm giving it to the Vikings here. Now, Week 7 versus the Raiders. They do have some star players like Devontae Adams and Josh Jacob if he plays, but Bears have home field advantage, and Raiders defense isn't that good, so I'm giving the Bears here. Then you have Denver versus Chargers. I think Chargers will bounce back. They have a very talented team still. They have pretty much the same team from last year with Herbert, um, Mac, their safety Derwin James and Joey Bosa, which I think will cause too much problems on Justin Fields. And Bears defense, like I said, should not be able to contain the Chargers, especially Chargers have home field advantage. So I'm giving it to LA. Then you have Week 9 versus the Saints. Similar story for this, similar to the Chargers. Saints have a team with a very good defense, and I don't see the Bears offense stopping Olave or Derek Carr. So I'm giving the Saints, especially Saints have home field advantage. Then you have Denver versus the Panthers. It's a Thursday nighter. It should be starting to get cold in Chicago though, in November-ish. Bears have home field advantage. It's a short week. Panthers defense is very young. Justin Fields could have a better day. Um, Bears defense and the Panthers offense isn't that good, so I'm giving the Bears here. Then you have Denver versus the Lions. Lions is a more experienced team. That Lions have a great offense, which I think will get them the win, so I'm giving the Lions here. You have Week 12 versus the Vikings. I don't think Vikings good defense, even though it is a blitz-heavy defense. I don't think they're good enough to sweep the Bears, so I'm giving the Bears the split. Oops. Then you have Denver versus Detroit. Similarly, I do not see the Lions sweeping the Bears. I think the Detroit defense is kind of a weakness, and Bears come off a bye and take the Bears. Week 15 versus the Browns. I think the Browns offense is absolutely stacked, and even though Browns defense I don't think is that good, I trust the Browns offense over the Bears offense. It's going to be a high scoring game, but I'm taking the Browns here. Then you have Denver versus the Cardinals. Bears have home field advantage. Cardinals is even less talented than the Bears. Definitely taking the Bears here. Then you have Denver versus the Falcons. I do not think the Bears defense is good enough to stop the Falcons run game, even though they brought in a couple new linebackers. I think Desmond Ridder is going to be good, and Falcons defense has been good so far during camp and preseason, so I'm giving the Falcons here. Now, Week 18 versus the Packers, I don't see the Packers sweeping them. Bears, just because I'm gonna give it to the Bears here. So Indianapolis, the Bears going 6-11, 3-2 in division, 4-4 at home, and 2-7 away.